Monica Lewis. Good God. Born in Chicago, Illinois?
That's right. You were born in Rockford, Illinois.
Well, no, I wasn't born in Rockford.
Oh,
I went to school there for a few years.
I thought you were from that area.
Yeah, but tell me something. Mother, father, show business.
Right.
Mother was an opera singer.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, she was one of the very first Americans who was ever hired by the Chicago Opera. At that time, we're talking a long time ago, they only hired foreign singers. And she was just a youngster, and the pictures of her at 19 were just incredible. She was beautiful, even though they're old daguerreotypes.
Right.
And I guess they liked her for her legs and her face, but she also could sing. And they found that out, and so she was with the Chicago Opera.
And your father was conductor?
And composer.
And composer.
And pianist.
God, you grew up in a family.
Yeah.
Really?
They were great.
And your mother she taught you to sing when you were a little girl?
Well, she
became a vocal teacher.
Yes, she did. And I think they gave up on me as far as the piano and the violin and all the other things that my sister and brother excelled at. So they said, well, I guess if she wants to sing jazz, at least let her sing right.
Right. Then you went to New York.
Yes.
At age 17.
Well, actually, we went to New York earlier.
Earlier? Mm-hmm. But you sang at the age 17.
Yes, I did.
At the Stork Club.
That's right.
Benny Goodman.
Yeah.
Walked in, saw you. What happened? Tell me.
Well, I heard there was a call for Benny Goodman, and I was working on a radio station in New York for $5 every Saturday.
Really?
I sang 15 minutes for $5. And I heard that Benny was looking for a singer. Peggy Lee had left the band. And so I went there in borrowed clothes. My sister's girlfriend had a very nice dress.
Right.
And it was small enough, because I was very small then. And I borrowed the dress and put on lots of makeup and all that, and I auditioned, and there were about 150 girls there singing, auditioning, and he said, "Kid, can you come back tonight? Be here at 7:50, you know." So I went back, and there I was, and he taught me one of the songs that went on national radio in the intermission, like between sets.
Right.
And he played it on the clarinet, and he said, "Okay, here are the words, you're on." It was very difficult for me, because I was scared to death.
Do you remember the song?
It's like Texaco Joe, or some such thing. It was like not memorable.
Then, Copacabana, I got to get that real quick.
Right.
Copacabana. Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis.
Yes.
You were on the bill with them.
That's right.
They were your opening act for Monica Lewis.
I'm not sure that's right. I think it was the other way.
No, okay, go ahead. Tell me about that.
Well, actually, they had opened as an opening act for another well-known singer whose name I will not mention. And when she finished her tenure, they had become such a rage. So they became the headliner. And then I came in, and I stayed with them for the rest of the time.
Working with Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin those days, do you remember the excitement in that audience at the Copacabana in New York?
It was crazy.
Was it?
Absolutely crazy.
Did Jerry go out in the audience at that time?
Jerry was very, very funny, and he did go out in the audience. And Dean was so handsome then, you know, and he was a heartthrob and for the girls. And he sang so beautifully in those days, and he also was very funny, too. It was a wonderful show, actually.
Then you went to Vegas.
Yeah.
You opened the club called the Flamingo Hotel.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
It rained all
Monica
the time.
Lewis.
I don't remember much about it, except one thing, I learned to do double cross sticks there, because it rained all the time. You couldn't horseback ride, and you couldn't golf, you couldn't play tennis or anything when I was there. And I don't gamble. So I didn't know what to do with myself, and I got a book of puzzles and increased my vocabulary. I figure it shouldn't be a total loss, learn something, you know.
Vegas,
numbers I can't work.
Vegas those days were wonderful.
Yeah, they were
quiet.
exciting, but
They were
exciting
quiet.
shows.
What do you mean by exciting shows? Like what?
Well, people did live performances.
Live performances.
Yeah.
You're talking about not tapes.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What do you think of tapes today in Vegas?
Well, I don't know. I haven't been in Vegas in a while, to be honest, Skippy, and I don't know, but I do know that I think if you're paying for a live performance, you should get one. I understand if there's a big production number.
Right.
I understand that. And that the singer is out of breath. Although in the old days we didn't...
Regardless.
Yeah, you did your dance number and then you sang again. But that hasn't been happening for a long time.
Don't blame me. Come on, Monica Lewis. That song, Don't Blame Me.
For falling in love
That's your
with
song?
you.
Oh, I love it. Tell me about that. How did you get that song?
I don't know. You have to realize I'm very old, and
You're not that old.
I can't remember these things.
You don't remember?
No.
Monica.
I don't.
Don't Blame Me.
Frankly, cannot tell you.
Didn't Betty Grable sing that in the film? Don't Blame Me? Betty Grable at 20th Century Fox. I think she did. Yeah, she did that in the film. Then MGM signed you.
Yeah.
A threat to Lana Turner. Come on.
Isn't that hysterical?
That's what I read. A threat to Lana Turner.
That's what they used to do that, you know.
Why, Monica? Why did they say that?
It's a good question, but they were always very busy with threats. They had a threat to Rita Hayworth at Columbia, and they had a threat to Lana Turner at MGM. They were always busy with threats. I never did understand that. Of course, Lana was pregnant, which is a normal thing for people to do, I think.
Right.
And she had to take some time off, and so they hired me and kept calling me a threat. And one day she said to me, I don't understand this. You're such a wonderful singer and a dancer and all this. And she said, I don't know why they're doing that. Why, there's plenty of room for both of us, you know? And it was ridiculous.
Same size. You
Pretty
look the
much.
same, because I know Lana.
Pretty
and
much.
You are about the same size. Small. Have you seen her lately?
No, have you?
Yeah, I saw her last year. She looks
I saw her on television last night. I watched her in an old movie. She was wonderful.
Imitation of Love.
Imitation of Love. She was wonderful. She looked gorgeous.
Married a very famous director, producer, Walter.
No, Jennings.
Jennings. But Walter is the man who shot your husband. Is that right? Walter Ranger or something like that?
Well, that was before my time, sweetheart.
Was it?
And I wouldn't even want
You don't want to discuss it?
Well, I don't mind discussing it, but it's just that I wasn't not married
You
to
weren't
Jennings.
married to Jennings. No. Walter Jennings. Tell me about him.
Oh, Walter.
Jenny, I got confused.
Walter
Ranger shot your husband.
Obviously.
Right.
Because we all both read about it.
Right.
But I've been married to Jennings for 35 years, and this all happened long before that.
Really? How many children do you have?
I adopted Jennings' two children, and we had one together, so I have 3 sons.
He produced Airport, all the airport pictures.
Airport, Earthquake.
Tell me all about the thing. And Earthquake?
And House Calls, and 7 pictures with Clint Eastwood, Play Misty for Me, High Plains Drifter. I could go on and on and on. He produced 33 feature films and about 2,000 television shows prior to that.
Living in Hollywood all these years.
Yeah.
Gave up your singing for a while? Why?
For a long while.
For a long while. Why,
For about
Monica?
30 years.
30 years, Monica Lewis. I'm just looking at this new record you got coming out.
Yeah. Isn't
Tell
that
me
nice?
about this. Julie Stein sings. I mean, Monica Lewis sings with Julie Stein.
Well, it's all of Julie Stein's songs, which are from Gypsy, and all the songs he wrote with Sammy Kahn, and all the wonderful lyricists. I think that Julie has written with every important American lyricist. And he was honored at the Kennedy Center just at Christmas as one of our great living composers. So I'm very happy about it.
What made you give up singing? I want to know, really, Monica. What really? Because you grew up in the business. You worked all over the world.
I gave up singing. I gave up everything as far as the career is concerned for quite a long while. Well, when I married Jennings, he had these 2 young boys,
Right.
and their mother was dead. And I adopted them legally.
Right.
And then I got pregnant, and I had my child. And Jennings had a very fulfilling life, and I had a very wonderful time. And I became,
Mrs. Jennings.
yeah, and I just really loved all of it very much. And later on, when the kids were all grown and everything, I started to do some acting again. I've done some acting.
You did a lot of acting.
Yeah.
A lot of films,
But
a
I
lot of
didn't
television.
do any singing, per se,
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And it wasn't till we had an unfortunate occurrence in our home, and my husband became ill, and my youngest son, Rocky, who's a director.
Rocky is your youngest son?
Rocky's my baby.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He directs?
He's a director now, of film.
uh-huh.
He's got a new movie coming out called Nervous Ticks.
Uh-huh.
And he's the apple of our eye, and we just adore him, and he's been really wonderful. And he said to me, Mom, you've got to do something besides watch Daddy get better.
Uh-huh.
And he will get better, and you've got to do something. So I started to practice. And my voice sounded pretty awful, but within 6 or 8 months, I felt it was better.
Uh-huh.
And so then, through my friend Alan Eichler,
Uh-huh.
I got a couple of jobs, and one job blossomed into another, and I started to sing again.
You did some club dates?
Yeah.
Is that really? Got on stage and did it? How wonderful. That's the way to do it.
And I have 2 CDs out.
And 2 CDs coming out. I love it. I love it, Monica. Tell me about any regrets about your life?
No.
Giving up that show business for a while and...
I think regrets are a waste of time, Skippy. I really do. You could regret if you killed someone,
Right.
or maimed someone,
Right.
or that you were drunk when you drove, or some of the things that are, you know, really bad. Regretting a life that encompassed as many things as did I.
Right.
I grew up in a very loving family, a very musical and talented family. Some people called me neurotic in my love for my family. I don't care what they call me. I loved my family, which is a lot better than hearing people talk about how bad was
Right,
it, you know.
right.
And I had a very long and good career. I may not have achieved the heights I might have wanted in each direction, but I had a piece of it.
Uh-huh. A good
And,
piece of it,
Yeah,
Monica.
and then I married a guy I was really in love with,
Uh-huh.
and had a wonderful family life again. And you take it the way it comes, and you make the most of it, you know?
You sound very spiritual and very happy.
Well,
Is Monica
you are
Lewis?
too.
Yeah, but you are spiritual because you take care of your husband. I understand
Yes.
your husband had a stroke,
Yes.
and you've been very close and take care of him.
It's important. He'd do it for me.
But you take him to baseball games.
I take him
understand.
everywhere.
Tell me about the baseball games. You were
Oh, we're
telling me in
Dodger
the car.
fans.
Huh?
We're big Dodger fans.
Dodger fans?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And my husband, he goes to the Lakers, and we get him to everything. With the tennis, we get him to all the sports events.
Danny Kaye. You worked with Danny
Yes.
Kaye in Korea,
Yeah.
matter of fact, because I did a lot of special service shows. And you were in Korea with Danny Kaye. You were
Yes.
a very big hit in Korea with the U.S. boys.
I'll tell you that's true.
It is true.
That's true.
Tell me about that. You remember
Well,
the excitement?
That I do. I can't remember about those songs, but I can remember Korea. It was an extraordinary experience.
Like what? Just share one experience
Well,
with Danny Kaye. especially.
Danny was marvelous, you know, and we'd have 150,000 people we entertained.
Right.
And you'd look up on a hillside and see 40,000 guys.
Right.
And at a crack, and they'd light a match in the dark. And when there was never such an audience, they adored everything we did for them. And it was we were 5 miles behind the enemy lines on occasion. It was a grueling thing. I used to wash my hair in a helmet and slept in sleeping bags. It was rough in those days, but it was worth every minute of it because we did bring joy to them. That was a rotten place at the time for our boys to be. I'd say guys and gals, but there weren't a lot of gals in the service then, you know, and not in the fighting front at any rate. And any battle is awful.
It seems like we've been having war for years.
Yeah.
It never ends. It seems like we're always having war.
Yeah.
And working with Mickey Rooney in a film.
Oh, The Strip.
The Strip.
Yeah.
That was a good movie, too.
It was a good movie, wasn't it?
And Mickey was excellent.
He was wonderful.
He was absolutely dramatic and excellent.
Yeah, he was wonderful. And wasn't Bill Bendix?
Bill, I don't know. But Mickey,
William, no.
Mickey was excellent in this film, and it was a wonderful...
Mickey was the star, yeah.
Tell me about working with Mickey Rooney. What kind of guy is Mickey Rooney? Because I love him.
Just everything you think. Talented and funny and wonderful and professional and kind.
And Gower and Champion. Tell me about Gower and Champion.
I enjoyed that very much. Marge and I are still friends.
Uh-huh.
And she used to help me a lot because I am not a ballerina. I'm a singer who dances.
Right.
There's a difference. But she was a great dancer, and she used to have me come in and work out with her, and she was a great, great lady, and he was a very talented fellow.
Uh-huh.
Very.
You had some great experiences with show people.
Yeah.
And one of the best, Monica Lewis. I mean, thinking back, would you write a book? Are you writing a book about your life?
Oh, my kids want me to do that, and I don't.
Because you had such a great career.
I don't.
Think. What a wonderful career you've had. I mean, you've married this wonderful producer.
Yeah.
Your children are directors now. Your family, your mother was an opera singer. You grew up in the business.
I don't think people buy books about people who know how to be happy.
Oh, I like that.
I mean, unless you have a how-to book, and I don't know how to tell you to. I think that whatever sorrows and sadnesses I've had in my life are normal kinds. You cannot reconstruct or orchestrate whether someone's going to have a stroke.
Right.
There are a lot of things you can't do in this world. But I think that unless you've been through some nervous breakdown or are recovering something, people are only interested in the dirt. And it's one of the things I don't dish.
You don't like to... You're one of the Hollywood great ladies, it seems, because you've played low profile here in Hollywood. You don't...
Yeah.
You don't believe what the trades are saying about, not the trades, the gossip columns about all these gossips of what's going on in Hollywood?
No, I don't, because I've been there, and I was there in the beginning, and
You don't believe what's written up?
And I've had offers from great press agents to work on their staff. I know how to create publicity. I know how the business works, but I don't like gossip, and I don't like innuendo, and I don't like besmirching, and I don't like dirt.
Oh, I see.
Sorry.
That's what
who I
Monica
am.
Lewis, my favorite things. This is another song. Tell me about this one, my favorite. These songs, what are these songs?
Gershwin and Rogers.
Gershwin and Rogers.
George and Ira, and Rogers and Hart, and a few Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein.
What's happening with our singers today? Are there any good singers around today, Monica Lewis? Because you grew up in the business with some great singers. What's happening?
Okay, I think there are some great singers today. I think Whitney Houston has got a gorgeous voice. I really do. I think she's a wonderful singer. And I'm talking about young people under 30, you know? And this youngster Mariah Carey has a beautiful voice, just gorgeous.
Right.
And I saw a girl in New York who no one has heard of her, I guess, except those of us who were at that show, but her name is Donna Murphy, and I think she's fabulous. I hope somebody records her. And I think there are good singers. I think there are a lot of singers who are not good singers, but I think it's because they've been packaged in a video with a lot of rhythm section and special effects, and they haven't really learned how to sing very well because the camera... I think Natalie Cole is great. She's 41 years old, but I think she's great. Her new album is fabulous.
I understand your son...
The oldest son.
The oldest son
yes.
is the pianist.
Yes, on almost, maybe
on Natalie Coe's, Natalie Coe's Untouchable, I mean, Unforgettable?
Yeah.
Tell me about your son.
Well, he's a wonderful pianist. He really is. He's one of
What's his name?
Mike Lang.
Mike Lang.
The
Langs are very famous around Hollywood, aren't they, in the music industry?
Yeah, Michael is very wonderful. He produced these albums.
He produced these both?
And played a lot on both of them.
And he does all Natalie Coe's...
well, there's a lot of songs. I Cole did a couple of them, and Mike Melvoin did a couple, but but Mike Lang played most of them.
What would you advise young singers today, Monica? I mean...
Take music lessons.
And read, and learn to read notes, am I right?
I think that would be helpful.
to learn to read? Because in radio days, God, you guys...
Well, you'd come in, they'd give you a piece of paper and say, sing it, you know, what could you do? You had to be able to read the music.
Some of the radio shows, tell me about in Hollywood, when you did some of the radio shows here in Hollywood, but the stars you worked with. Oh,
well,
some of the great stars you did on radio.
Good stuff with Crosby and Hope and Mario.
You worked with Bing Crosby?
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me
Crosby,
about him. How was he?
Oh, darling.
Was he?
Darling. You see, again, all these books that have come out and telling how bad a person he was.
His own son, even.
Yeah.
His own sons.
He was really nice to me. He was very nice to me. He was always nice to musicians. I mean, I don't know what these people did when they went home, but they were great to me, and my relationship with them was good.
Marty Alonso. You said Marty Alonso. Tell me
Well,
about
that
him.
was a strange one, and I can tell you this, that when I worked with him, I did not work with him.
Right.
What happened is you'd go in, and he would greet you.
At the radio station.
At the radio station. He would greet you, and he would say, it's nice to have you with us. And then he would disappear, and you did your numbers, and he would go in a booth. And you didn't really work with him. So I really can't tell you, you know, what it was like, because he'd say, and now the fabulous, the lovely Monica Lewis will sing Black Magic, and the band would start, and I'd sing the thing. But I didn't really interplay with him.
I see.
Because he'd isolate himself.
You got into acting.
Yeah.
After you dropped singing.
Yeah.
Did a lot of films, a lot of television shows.
I like to act.
You do? Did you study acting, Monica?
Sanford Meisner.
Oh, the best. That's method, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that method?
Yes.
Do you think method is good? I want to know. Do you actually think method is a good
tool? I think anything that works for you does is good. I saw an interview with Audrey Hepburn, and she said that she worked a lot with props and clothes. That gave her a sense of who the character was. A lot of people work from the outside in. A lot of people work from the inside out.
Right.
And it just depends. Method is much more concerned with inside out. And you have to bring out in yourself some of the motivations, and you have to go into the character from a different aspect. But, you know, as Sanford Meisner said, I don't care whether your stomach hurts or your child's burning up in a house. What you portray on the stage has to be, A, don't bore the audience. And make them believe it's true in an unbelievable situation. And whichever motivation you use, that's the one that works for you.
Acting is all about honesty.
Yes.
And if you can fool, you got it made. Most of the people, you got it made. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Well, you have to make, it's
ahead.
like Katharine Hepburn said, do you want real tears or just sobs? You know, if you reach a technical point of such greatness that you can do on call those things, that's great. That's like tap dancing. If you don't tap dance for 20 years, it's hard to do much. You know, you might get off a shuffle off to Buffalo or a time step, but you can't really tap. But outside of great technique, if you have honesty and understand your role and don't chew up the scenery, you know, you can get across.
Acting is all of listening and react. Is that right?
Spencer Tracy.
Is that Tracy? Spencer Tracy? Is that
listened.
What he said? Listen. He was a great listener.
Listened, yes.
That's what I'm trying to do. Looking at you, darling. Monica Lewis, I'm telling you, I love Hollywood when it was those days, because I grew up here, like. You came here in that day, too. Today, what do you think of Hollywood? I got to know, really, because you grew up, actually, you know, you spent a lot of time here. It was wonderful back then.
Well,
I know you're up in your hill.
No,
and everything, you know.
I know what's going on.
You do, of course.
Yeah.
What do you think? You turn that TV on, Hollywood Boulevard, the violence. Oh, it's dreadful.
Well, Hollywood is a street, or Hollywood is an industry?
Is the whole thing.
Well, Hollywood is a street. I mean, the whole thing is you have to lock your doors, and that's all over the country, and perhaps all over the world.
In America, too.
Yeah,
Not in the
it's
world,
awful.
mostly in America. What is happening?
Well, what is happening in the streets and with people, I mean, it's incredible. I never was afraid, and
Those days, never.
No.
Am I right?
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
I was never
Because I lived
afraid.
around Normandy and Franklin. It was so easy and wonderful.
Oh, I would walk at night.
Exactly.
And take, you know,
It was
drive
lovely.
at night. I won't drive alone at night. I mean, but, you know, I don't know whether it's because I'm getting older or what.
No,
I'm afraid.
these kids today don't have a clue how we lived.
was so
And
happy.
I'm so happy it's
yeah.
over with, practically, not want to know about it. The world today. I really don't like the world today. Do you, Monica?
Oh, come on. You have
No,
to grow
I
your
don't. No,
vegetables
no,
and
no,
plant
come
your
on.
flowers and
Come on,
whatever it
Monica.
is.
Do you really like what's happening today in the world? I don't. I don't, really.
No.
Come on. Huh?
No.
Be honest.
No.
So
But
what do
there's
we
a
do?
way to get through. There's a way to
See,
get through
you've got to
it.
lock your doors and keep yourself and watch it all on television all the time? I mean, we got to
No.
do something about this.
Well, you have to write your congressman, and you have to send letters to the op-ed, and you have to get, better education, and you have to make people realize life is precious.
Yeah, but we have too many foreigners in our country coming in our country, taking over our country. And they're all coming in here and taking over our country, and we should do something about it. We got to close the doors once and for all, I think.
But I think more important, we have to raise our own children to be responsible citizens.
That's it. Our own children, of course, definitely.
I mean, that's real important.
Yeah. So tell me about the young singers today. You said they're good. Some of them are good. Some
Yes,
of them
and
are
I
bad.
think some of the movies are very good, too.
I
think that's
I
what
disagree with you. Some of the singers today, they don't. They're screaming. They are on Star Search. They are all screamers. Every one of them are screamers. There is no definite identification, like yourself. Stylist. Now that's what that's lacking.
Yeah, that's true.
Now,
It's hard
so
to
what do
find
we
good
do about
stylists.
this? What do we do?
Well,
How do we teach our young singers to listen to your tapes, and they should listen,
Well, listening never hurt anyone, and education will never hurt anyone. And I think style, though, comes out of instinct. I don't know that Billie Holiday had a great education, but she had an instinct.
She worked every club there was, every toilet
Yes.
there was, and that's where you get your experience,
Yes.
by working these places. The kids today have no places to work.
But that's not the fault of the kids.
We understand that. But
Somebody has to provide a place for them to work. There is no
it's one
venue.
showcase. That's what we
Yeah.
call showcases
Yeah.
today.
Right.
And they don't make a living.
No.
They get up there and entertain and sing for nothing.
Well, it's the same
So,
in
it's
New
sad.
York in the theater. I know some wonderful actors who can't get work. There's nothing for them to do, and on equity waivers, there's $300 a week, working 7 nights a week, and matinees. There isn't a lot of place to work. That's unfortunate.
Monica Lewis, I'm looking at you right now. Seems like you had a great career. Seemed like you took care of your husband, your loved ones, your children. Then now you're coming back to singing again, brighter as ever. All of a sudden and now you said you don't want to write a book. I think you should. I think you should say something and let the people know and share some of that experiences with them.
I'll try.
But you've got to, not
try.
try. Why don't you sit down and write a book? Let's talk on a tape recorder. Do something, Monica
Maybe,
Lewis.
because I don't think I have the skills to write a book,
Why? You don't think
Maybe I
so?
can just talk or something. Somebody write down what I say. If it's any good, fine. If it isn't, it's okay.
You were in Airport, your
Yeah,
husband's
Yeah.
movie?
yeah.
Tell me about it. Which one was it?
I was in 2 of them. I was in 77, I was a stewardess. And in 79, I was a singer. I played a part of a singer like myself, was making a comeback.
I remember that. Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. What was that? That was, what was 70?
79,
79.
Concord, yeah.
Those airplane pictures made a lot of money, didn't they?
Money.
Were successful.
Oh,
What
very
made
much
it
so.
successful, those pictures?
People like them. There's always a great...
Like Earthquake and
Oh,
Tragics?
Earthquake was tremendous blockbuster of a movie.
This is one your husband produced, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why was it such a blockbuster? They love dramatics. They love this.
Well, people love all that sort of thing. People love horror pictures, and people love being frightened. And actually, Earthquake was a little more than that, because it was kind of saying to everybody, hey, maybe we should build our buildings with better foundations, and maybe we should, think about the loss of human life if such a